Yeah. Okay, getting started a couple minutes late here due to me giving that guy a jump start out in the parking lot. Starting with you, Linda, and ending with Loretta over there, and then going to the back row. Everybody introduce themselves.
AK4GC, Linda.
AK4HA, Glenn.
KB4ESN, Roger, KJ4YSY.
Loretta Colvin.
And I'm turning my phone on.
KM4CH, John.
I'm on.
KG4GGK, Porter.
Have you used it yet? Yep. Okay.
AK4HA,
Did you get the program?
KG99A10.
Alrighty. Okay, pretty good crowd tonight. Thanks everyone for coming. Are you part of the QRP meeting?
I'm sorry, I'm just setting up for the next meeting.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I have
good deal.
lots to do.
They'll be here at 7:30.
Okay.
That's Doug. He's gonna do
Oh, Doug House. Okay,
Yes.
He's gonna do a D-start.
I'm sorry for not recognizing you.
Well, I put a lot of weight on since the last meeting.
You think you have?
I'm on a seafood diet.
But all food you see me.
That's right.
It makes the meeting.
You gotta find one to text the office, let me know, please.
Okay, let's see. This is an odd-numbered month, so that means that we go to the Frisch's on Harrodsburg Road for lunch. Yeah. My calendar isn't working so good here.
How about the 25th?
25th? How would the 25th work for folks? That's what Linda has suggested.
7:25.
Yeah. Okay, Frisch's at 11:30. Anybody with a problem with that really wants to go but can't make it? Okay. Okay, field day. Who wants to talk about what they did? Now come on, a bunch of you were there.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was fun.
Glenn used his buddy pole antenna.
Yeah, we
Uh-huh.
did that.
Okay.
It worked
Buddy
good.
pole antenna works.
Worked fine, yeah.
Okay,
And Roger and Bobby were there.
yeah. You're close enough to start, I'll put you down. KY-QRP, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bobby worked a lot of CW.
Do you have a license?
I do not.
Okay,
I'm
well,
just,
that's
I'm
all
just random observer.
What's your name? I'll put your name down anyway.
I'm Jen.
Jen, okay. Just like my sister. Okay. Okay, how did y'all do contact-wise? Much or?
Yeah, we did pretty good.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't no race to do anything,
Okay.
but I was surprised,
The pilots.
yeah.
Okay.
Don't have my log with me or anything, can't remember what the number was, but it was
Okay.
more than we did last year.
Okay. Good deal. Did you have any luck with your PSK 31?
Bad luck's all.
Okay. Okay. Now, John, did you operate overnight? Somebody said, did you do that with QRP or with the
I just work with the bar.
main? Okay. Okay. Yeah, they had a bunch of radios set up. So
Did you work QRP?
I was gonna say, did you dial the power back or did you?
No, I just used what they had. They had a 940, which I never had used a 940, so that was, I learned how to operate the 940.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just used regular power.
Okay. All righty. Anybody? Roger, do you have many interesting contacts or just kind of run the mill stuff or?
Just
Okay.
run of the mill, nothing.
Okay.
I did go, me and Lori have been to Hyman the last few days. Operated from my sister-in-law's front porch.
Okay.
The battery. strung an antenna across the porch post
Mm-hmm.
and talked to Myrtle Beach on 5 watts and talked to a guy in Illinois on 5 watts.
Okay. And this was where again?
This was
Hyman?
in Hyman.
Hindman?
Really in Talcum.
Okay.
TALCUM.
TALCUM, okay. Someplace in Kentucky I've never heard of.
Yeah, it's in
That
Knox
sounds
County.
like one of them white birds.
And I found out anybody that's got an 817, I was just tuning around on 20 meters, and I went to holler at somebody, and I noticed it was changing frequencies when I would key the mic. Okay, it's easy fix. It's the same thing that happens to yours. It was the clarifier. I had accidentally somewhere along the line pushed the button. I pushed it again, and everything this morning went back to normal.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So,
It's easy to do.
so be careful.
And I don't know if I posted in the Yahoo group, but my my wall wart went bad on my 817. I had I pretty much from home operated it under with a wall wart, and I haven't noticed that and I have the voltage display, set it up so the voltage displays. It seemed a little low, and it was it was varying around an awful lot, but I didn't really think too much of it. And the day after the June NAQCC Sprint, I get this note from this guy in New England someplace, and he says, "You got hum modulation on your rig, what are you using?" I said, "Well, it's an FT817, I'll check it when I get home." And sure enough, I unplugged the wall wart and it was just fine. So the wall wart is on its way to the electronic recycling center, and I can, if I want one, I can buy a new one on Amazon or just about anywhere. But actually, I'm running it off my one of my base supplies at home. So if you notice that your wall wart doesn't seem to be giving you as much voltage as you should, and definitely if somebody says you got hum or something,
Yeah.
it's your wall wart. So
Mine gets all warm.
yeah, but as long as it puts out enough voltage and it's
Yeah.
straight DC,
You can read it.
you're probably okay. But that's the first time I've ever seen a wall wart just, it sounds like the caps are going bad in it or something. Okay, while we're on the subject of FT817s, anybody else want to do any hints and kinks or anything on 817s? Okay, but back to field day before we move on to anything else. I operated from home 1E QRP battery, and I'm sure glad I got my FT817 straightened out before field day. I had 150 QSOs in about 6 hours because I went out to the bars thing. You saw me all out there, and then had other stuff going on Sunday as well. I had, I think, 110 QSOs on CW and 40 on phone, but that was using my home antennas. So that 1E battery QRP, and I've been doing that for several years now, and I like it real well. So anybody else with any field day reports on anything QRP or otherwise?
At least we didn't get shot at this time.
Yeah, I said something about that we didn't have any drug dealers, and one guy says, "Well, if you just asked me, I would, I said, well, you got ibuprofen and just all kind of good stuff, right?" Okay, but anyway, okay. Other portable operations. You mentioned Knott County. Anybody else do any other portable work other than field day this month, or during June?
Well, we set up the Comex.
Oh, okay, cool.
Kentucky Veterans Disaster Relief has a trailer. It's housed in Lawrenceburg. And Don and I were involved in that. You're involved in that, I think. And we set up, and we assisted the Anderson County Club with field day because they lost their site 2 days before the field day. And so we set that up and augmented and operated from the EOC, and that worked well.
Yeah, okay.
And then Thursday, we put the trailer back in use in Frankfurt and invited in communication trailers in the area, in the state, really. And they had several show up. They had Air National Guard, the National Guard, the state communications trailer, fire service out of here, and another fire service truck. And then we set up. And we operated that day and then shared information. We toured each other's trailers. Of course, our little 25-year-old disaster relief trailer is pretty pitiful against those $1.5 million trucks.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think in a pinch, I just didn't have our little outfit because we probably had a broader range of basic capabilities. A lot of their stuff is really great as long as all the computers work and all the networks work and all that stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of complexity
But
there.
anyway, we had a good time. I think Don enjoyed that. We set the trailer up, and put the tower up, and put it back down both days. And then we allowed Jonathan and I kind of backed him up to find some peaks we need to work on to improve our setup.
Okay. So this was during the COMEX exercise? Okay.
One of the days during the comics, they invited mobile trailers in just to share information.
Okay.
So we got to meet the National Guard guys, and it was good just to have conversations with them. And then we toured their trailers and asked them questions, and they toured ours, so it was really good.
Okay. Did you also say that you operated with Anderson County on field day?
We did.
Okay. So you got around then because you were also at
I
bars.
helped them set up field day and tear it down, but I didn't operate.
Oh, okay, okay. I was gonna say. Okay.
And the next day I went to the COMEX and operated that evening on one of the 2-meter Echo Link setups. You know, they had the HF day, then they had a 2-meter 440 day.
Yeah, okay.
We checked in the HF
Yeah.
net,
Okay.
and then we went over to the EOC.
Okay.
I had
Next
all the ham and I wanted last week. I was about to get out. I don't usually get that. But I was just
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know, I didn't, in my case, I don't think there is such a thing, but you know, heck, fire, I might get to that point
I
sometime.
got close. All ham and I wanted.
Okay, alrighty. Anybody else do anything with COMEX? We've got a couple people, several people reported here, so. And the bars folks will be interested in hearing about your experiences too as well, so that'll be good. So,
Me and Glenn went down to the EOC
okay,
and
okay,
helped them get their radio and some of their equipment up and running.
okay, good.
You know, we got them an HF station
Uh-huh,
last year, and it never been operated at all.
Okay.
And so we went down, saw that it was running good. The tuner's working great. It's an outside tuner. And did a good job.
okay. What kind of gear they got?
It's ICOMs like my ICOM gear, mine and Rogers and David's,
Oh, okay.
Linda's.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of that, I understand the 7100 has been FCC approved now, like late July. They're gonna be able to start selling it, so.
Do you know what's different about it?
Well, it looks completely different, plus it's got D-Star in it.
Okay.
In other words, it's everything DC to light and D-Star and all the other analog modes, so.
For half the price.
Boy, you wish.
Really?
I think, I read on the reflector yesterday that the Tech Rebel is supposed to start shipping in middle of July.
Okay.
Anybody's interested in one of those?
Yeah, could you give me a quick summary, because I really don't watch the,
Well, the Rebel was, they viewed it at 4 days in May at QRP convention. It's a 40 and 80 meter QRP rig, but it's based on the Arduino computer model. And it's, so you can build shields with it. It's open source, and they're hoping people will get involved in experimenting with it. But it's a good radio. I listened to it, it sounded fine, it's all right, but it's software defined, and it's built on the Arduino model,
okay,
which is pretty, kind of an unusual thing. And if folks get interested in it, maybe be a lot of people building, they call them shields. When you add a board to it, like if you put an auto tuner on it, you call that a shield. Just plug it on there. Tech may develop some, and other people may develop some, and they're open to that. So it's kind of a fun, it's a good little two-man rig too for a couple $100.
Mhm.
Maybe, I'm gonna get one, it may not be, I may not like it too much after I get it, but I think I'm gonna get one.
Yeah, okay, good deal.
$200.
While we're on the subject of equipment, anybody with new equipment acquisitions, kit building, I realize it's not the time of year for that, but. Okay, what haven't we,
I brought a little something, I know I'm talking to you, but. This-
well, if you don't talk, nobody else will,
Well, I
so.
put it on the web, there's a couple of websites I put out to everybody, I think you saw them for KY-QRP, and also for 4 Days in May.
Okay.
And I've just fallen in love with the GQRP group, the Little Englishman, and they have a magazine, they call it Sprite, or Sprint, and an whole article was in there, and I pulled this article because it's the neatest LED SWR bridge I've ever seen.
Okay.
It would be a great kit project for folks if you just wanted to do a one-day project. But I just brought 12 copies, so you may have to share if you're here with your spouse. But that's the neatest little, it's the neatest little thing I ever saw. It doesn't have
Okay.
a cord in it or anything. It's just two LEDs and some resistors and capacitors.
Okay, and thanks for making the copies for everybody. Is that,
Well, I hope I didn't make them, maybe didn't make enough that we can share if you need them.
okay. All right, anybody else got anything along the lines of equipment, kits, an article that you've seen?
Got a point.
What have you got over there?
It's a $20 DSP receiver.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Oh, you were talking?
Yeah, you posted about that on the bars list, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's $20 free shipping if you get it from China.
You
Yeah.
have to build it, it comes
No,
over.
you just plug it in and, but,
What kind of software are you using with it, Bill?
the software is, something you just download on the internet, it's free. Can't remember the name of it right off here. It's used with a lot of the DSPs, hardware. And, the receiver itself is a fairly poor receiver. Okay. But for $20, there's something fun to play with, and you get a nice spectrum, you can use it for a spectrum analyzer and all sorts of things. One of the things I've done with it is I can use one of the local TV stations' reference frequency. We used to call it a carrier, now it's a reference frequency because it's no longer a carrier. At least one of the stations now have their carrier, or this reference frequency, derived from the atomic standard, so it's right on the money.
Okay.
Like this one is 626.3094441. Actually, it's 4405, megahertz. But in any case, you know, with a little preamp and our pre-selector on it and a up converter, because it only receives 60 megahertz up to about 1700 megahertz. You make a little up converter that will take, you know, a few hundred kilohertz up to, you know, 60 megahertz and burn it up to, you know, that frequency very easily. And in fact, there's some plans in the QST, I think, for that. But nevertheless, it's something fun to play with.
Yeah, a lot of people have because it's just, you know, it's virtually free. At least compared to other SDRs, it's free.
But it's only got an 8-bit A to D converter at all, which means that for your maximum dynamic range or signal noise ratio. So, and it receives, you know, like 30 megahertz bandwidth all at once. Well, that's when it comes into the input of it. It actually digitizes 2 or 3 megahertz at a time. So it's not a real low, you know, real low noise system.
You using FM, on PB?
Well, yes, it's very insensitive on 2 meters. Hang on a second, let me get some sound here. Where's my speaker at? There it is.
Will it receive FM stereo or FM radio?
Yeah, hang on a second. Ooh, there's some noise in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise in here, I'd say. While you're doing that, Bill, I'm just gonna, it's 7:25, so we gotta get ready to get out of here pretty soon, so bars can get started up. Anybody else have anything at all related to QRP before we close up shop for July? Okay, well, let anybody that's interested in the SDR has got a couple of minutes to go over there and talk to Bill and see what he's got. Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you at Frisch's on July 25th at 11:30.